You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I am your host, and this is episode 3 of Somewhere Beyond the Sea. I am once again joined by 3 wonderful players, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves and remind you who they're playing now.
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm playing Vassal Tar. I'm a Twi'lek colonist performer.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm playing Arco Vess, otherwise known as Scalpel, who is a human cybernetic expert.
Hi, I'm playing Reckon High, a Karkaradon soldier vanguard who has just been filleted.
And we pick back up in the immediate aftermath of our heroes' assault on the Imperial detention facility. The building itself is on fire and falling apart. There are bodies of stormtroopers and an ATDP, scout walker type thing, scattered liberally around the front. There is the ruins of several vehicles smouldering and burning and still occasionally exploding beneath the rubble. We see out the front Reckon High, standing and panting, covered in blaster holes with thick layers of dust crusting their gills. We see next to them, fiddling with his watch and looking extremely uncomfortable about the situation, Scalpel. And round the side of the building, the side that is still remaining standing of the building, we should be clear here, we can see the famous Twi'lek pop star, Vassal Tar, brushing himself down and picking up from the floor the staggered and beaten form of Spiral, their contact on this world.
We hope.
You hope. He's still in there. This is just some guy. Flipping a dark side point.
It was all elaborate rules. This is the captain. The person who got away was Spiral. He didn't know we were rescuing him.
That initial dark side flip has gone a long way.
I will briefly get Reckon's attention. So you've got a little, I'll take out a med pack. I'll just do a quick, and I will make a medicine check, I think.
Yep, so you've got kind of 2 options here.
Mm-hmm.
Because Reckon is also carrying a critical injury.
Okay.
You can attempt to heal the critical injury first.
Okay.
As your 1 medicine test for kind of this encounter.
Sure.
It's difficulty 2. And then any successes after the first you can use on wounds, any advantages you can use on strain, or you can just do a straight patch job on wounds, which again is difficulty 2, and every success goes to wounds, any advantage goes to strain.
What do you need the most?
Wounds. The critical isn't horrendously bad for me.
That's great. I didn't think so.
5 success, 3 advantage, so that's 5 wounds and 3 strain back.
Woo!
Marvellous.
At the same time of this, I'm going to pick up Spiral.
Yeah.
Hand them a stim pack.
Yeah, they take it gratefully and shoot themselves up.
And say, we're here to get you out of here. Let's get moving.
Righto, partner. That captain done stole your truck, and I think you done blew up everything else. How are we supposed to get away from here?
We're going to have to go on foot.
He sighs, kind of shakes himself off and goes, Righto, we best mosey.
Head over to the rest of the team.
I mean, just as a brief aside, are there any other vehicles that they have here?
Not that aren't exploded, visibly anyway. But, arguably you could go across the street to where there are crowds of civilians now starting to stare and point at the explosion and just nick one of their cars. But it is a bit Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, we've got a celebrity with us.
However, we killed all the guys that knew he was a celebrity.
We've wiped out your entire fan club.
Yeah, we wiped out his fan base. My job here is done.
That was really the despair, wasn't it, Adam?
Any chance of stabilising your career out in the fallout of this? Gone completely.
Yeah. But yeah, we could go a little Grand Theft Auto. I'm sure there's in the streets or something a speeder we could,
I've just got the mental image of all 4 of us on one speeder.
No, sorry, not a speeder bike, but the hover thing from Land Speeder, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's still a speeder bike, regardless of if it is actually a land speeder. It's just a speeder bike in my head, and it's just a motorcycle display team.
With you on top, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so briefly looking out, are there any civilian vehicles here?
Yeah, I mean, there's civilians in and around them, but there are civilian vehicles that have kind of pulled up to watch the show and rubberneck. You can hear, because this is still, this is civilization, you can hear from a distance the sirens of a fire crew kind of flying in.
We probably should move. I will look to somebody whose vehicle is in the most easily removable location.
Yeah.
Like they've got out and are looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll sort of go, can I borrow that?
Do you want to make me a charm check?
I mean, yeah.
God.
Sure.
Why are we letting him talk to people?
I don't know.
You could let me do it.
If someone didn't have a charm skill...
It is just your presence as green.
Duly noted, thank you.
And the difficulty is going to be, I think, 2 purple.
Okay.
And a setback. They're scared of repercussions. If they lend at you, you have just blown up an Imperial facility and are clearly shifty.
Got it. Okay.
I'm also going to give you a boost because you've blown up an Imperial facility and are clearly shifty and they're scared of repercussions.
I mean, that's fine.
They're caught in a catch-22 situation.
They're scared of both the very, very short-term ones, but also the long-term ones.
Yeah.
So 2 purple and a setback.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's a failure and 3 advantage. So I think that person you've approached goes, no, you absolute lunatic. And then someone from further down the back goes, you can borrow mine if you want.
There's no way that that's a good vehicle, but we'll take it.
It is the Star Wars equivalent of a many, many times repaired vintage Volkswagen camper van that is absolutely... It's psychedelic in colour, it is not subtle, and it is covered in, like, decals and bad art.
They've airbrushed a Jedi on the side.
Yeah.
And they're fighting a dinosaur.
Yes.
Fighting a dinosaur.
Well, a giant shark is going to get into it.
There's a disco ball inside the back.
And a mattress.
Classy.
Oh, cool, my tour bus is here.
You guys are rebels, right? You can take this for sure.
Nope.
Down with the Empire! Down with the... And then one of there's a lot of shushing and...
Yeah.
You get in this rickety speeder, which kind of... the exhaust bang a little bit, and then it drives off with the 4 of you in.
Yes, thank you very much. Your contribution to this cause is noted, whatever this cause is.
So we star wipe to outside of Spiral's lockup, Techland's fixes and fuel. It remains in pretty much the state you left it, to be honest. The lights are on but flickering. There is still glass everywhere. There's a lot less food and snack food and CDs in the concession area. And Maz is still kind of slumped on the counter, plugged in, humming to himself.
Oh, hi, you got the boss back. Hi, boss! I got shot a lot trying to protect you, but it's cool. I could do with a repair at some point, though, as all I can do is flop like a worm.
And Maz kind of flops a little bit like a worm and falls off the counter.
Uh-oh. Shouldn't have done that one. Can you pick me back up, please?
I'll go pick it back up.
Thank you very much.
Probably don't need to demonstrate that again.
Yeah. Well, I don't need to now. The boss saw it.
And Spiral kind of walks around to where Maz is like, they done you a complete number, my friend. Don't you worry. We'll get you patched back up just as good as new. Well, maybe not quite as good as new, but we'll do our best for you. Don't you fret, my boy.
I will wave around the blaster that I took and go, oh, by the way, I borrowed this.
That's fine. He ain't gonna be eating it anytime soon, and you probably put it to better use. Ugh. Anyway, thank you once again for busting me out of there. I'm gonna have to relocate. My cover's been well and truly burned here now, but I at least got what you need here. Come with me to my workshop. Oh, I see you already found it. And he walks behind the counter into his private workshop area. Now, first of all, let me unlock the money for you from the rebellion. Where did that data slate go? I hope they didn't take it. Just my luck they took it and blew it up.
I will pass the data slate back.
Oh. Well, thank you very much. He thumb code unlocks it. So this is the funds the Rebel Alliance has advanced to be able to bid up to. Obviously, if you can manage to get it for a bit less and do so, but with this being a blind auction, I think what we have to do is go in with our bid and hope it's enough. We can afford 75,000 credits. That's what this list is worth to the Rebellion and the people that are on it. But one way or another, we need that list. I'm sure Prism has told you the importance of it. What Prism probably hasn't told you, though, and wouldn't do so because she ain't from round here and doesn't quite understand the nuances, probably a number of my friends on that list, to say nothing of some of those new Force sensitives that they're trying to find. The last thing we need is those getting picked up by the ISB and disappearing. It ain't like when the Jedi used to do that and, they take kids away, but what you get in return is a whole crop of new Jedi. Whatever the ISB are doing with them, we don't ever see them again, and most of them are just kids, and that don't sit right with me. So if you gotta be a bit creative down there, if you gotta maybe make some alliances or deals, Prism probably won't like it, but I don't care. We gotta get that list one way or another. The auction's being held in the ruins of a Gungan city called Otoh Dompo, which is in the lake behind us. It used to be quite a big and thriving Gungan city, but something went wrong there. Some of the environmental seals started to fail, and the whole place started falling in decline about a century or so ago. And in the end, they just relocated to some of the other cities and just left it to ruin. Now, ever since then, there's been some smugglers that occasionally use it as a useful place to store some equipment. I myself and some of our compatriots to the cause have used it in the past to have somewhere to have a discussion away from prying imperial eyes, but it is a dangerous place and it is falling apart. So in the Bongo submarine I acquired for you to get there, I've managed to get some environment suits. They ain't pretty and they ain't graceful, but they'll stop you drowning as long as you're careful. At this point, Spiral kind of nods towards you, Lee. Not that I think you need to worry about that sort of thing, my Carcharodon friend here.
No, funnily enough, water doesn't tend to be a problem for me.
Now, there's a lot of big fish down there that have thrived since the Gungans stopped keeping their numbers down, so y'all are gonna have to be careful and try and keep off the sonar. Any of y'all piloted a submarine before?
Not a sub, now.
Okay. What about a starship?
Yeah, I've piloted small stuff.
Okay. Now, it ain't that different because it's still three-dimensional, so you should be okay. Just run slow and careful down there. Now, the Bongo's got a few weapons, but it ain't exactly a war sub, so try to stay out of any conflict. They just ain't suited for it, especially with you two not exactly having gills of your own down there. If your seals get ruptured in the sub,
Gonna have a bad time.
Gonna have yourselves a bad time. Now, I also know, as well as us have an interest in it, the ISB are desperate to get it back, and that damned captain managed to beat and drug the location and time of the auction out of me well, so be on your guard. But I heard rumblings that this Kraken fella also put the tender out to a couple of real unsavory parts. And my contacts have suggested that they've seen a Black Sun warship sneaking into orbit not too long ago, so
Wow.
you be careful down there. Now, this Kraken as well, I don't know who they are other than a name and a reputation, but their rep is that they ain't no fool. They know there's gonna be interest in this, and they know there's gonna be danger from folks as ain't willing to pay. So I'd imagine they've probably put some kind of safeguards in place down there as well to make sure everybody plays nice. So, now I'm not gonna say be all subtle, because I suspect that ain't all, perhaps your skill set, but just take it easy. Down there, it ain't your natural environment. Again, with the exception of your Carcharodon friend. He pulls out a data slate, unlocks it, and enters in there some coordinates. Now, this can be attached to the sub when you get down there. It's got coordinates of where Otoh Dompo is and the nearest docking bay to where the auction's being held. It's also got some coordinates to an extraction point that me and Prism arranged before I got taken. Now, the captain did manage to get that out of me because I don't know if y'all have been subject to Imperial interrogation, but they don't tend to ask broad questions, and I made sure I kept my answers to the specific. No point in playing all your cards at the same time. So we've arranged an exfil for you on the far side of the lake when you've got the list and got out of there. This place is going to be abandoned by the time you get back. I'm making my own way off-world. Do one of you want to get these cores gene-coded so they can't take it off you and slice it?
Yeah, sure.
May I make a suggestion?
Yep.
Probably reckons better option for this.
Okay.
If
all goes
it's
to
wrong
hell.
down there and it's underwater, I suspect she's the one more likely to survive.
Fair.
Sure.
Okay. Just put your thumbprint here and bleed on it a little.
Yeah, just run thumb across the teeth and put it down.
Yeah. The data slate beeps a few times and then a little light on it goes green. Okay, that's gene coded to you. While Spiral's been kind of talking to you and sorting out the data slates, what he's also been doing is reassembling the pistols on the side without even looking at them. You know, like he has done this so many times that he can do it without having to pay attention. He can do it blindfolded. While he's here as well and kind of has recovered on the course of your journey back, there is a definite military bearing to him and a military precision to his actions. He's an older fella, he's probably early 60s, but he's very in shape for all of that. And a lot of the muscles and tone he's got is not just the sort that you get by doing practical manual labour in a garage all day. You know, this is someone who clearly has a fitness and training regime that they stick to religiously.
I'd like to briefly just contact Prism and just let Prism know that recovery's happened and that mission is still a go.
That's good to hear. Our satellites saw a number of explosions on the place, but I didn't want to break radio silence and try to communicate with you just in case things had gone totally wrong. What's the situation then?
Captain escaped, but we recovered what they were guarding, so we can proceed.
Excellent. Do you know where the location is then?
Yep.
Good. I'll still be available for any more check-ins, but until then I'll keep radio silence until you speak to me.
Okay.
Good luck.
Cool.
We're going for a dip then, boys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't
Can't think of anything else.
Just give me a second. Something I just want to... Let me have a look at this vehicle for a minute. I'm going to drop down to the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've got a thing called hidden storage that lets me put, like, storage spaces in a vehicle that are secure. Presumably because I know which bits are just
Redundant.
empty space within the vehicle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I am just going to make a bit of storage space in there, just where we can keep things like the remaining bomb,
Yep, that's absolutely fine.
the slate with the money, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. Kind of, we have a bit of a montage, I think, then as you're sorting that out and the data slate coordinates are being entered into the Bongo computer, you're checking out what it's like. It's very small. It has a single pilot up in the front in kind of a big transparent dome at the front, and then 2 passenger seats at the back, and that's about it. There really isn't a lot of space in here.
You said it's got weapons, though.
The weapon on the Bongo is not built in like you would expect from a starship or anything like that, because this thing is small and clearly kind of a bespoke model. There is a battery of harpoon guns that are basically attached over the top of the dome, so like the 6 pressurized harpoon guns. They are clearly personal scale for use against a person rather than, you know, the big sort of stuff that could take out a huge Colo clawfish or another submarine. Yeah, they're not anti-vehicle and that size weapons, but if you manage to shoot a person with them, they're going to have a bad day. But yeah, there are 6 of them. They are detachable, but currently they are in a rack, and the firing mechanism is attached to effectively a load of strings that hang down from a sealed bit in the cockpit that you just kind of yank to shoot.
Real high-tech stuff. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
We really are in the future, but that is also somehow the past.
Groovy. Okay. I mean, that was my big question. Is it fireable from the pilot seat or from the passenger seats? But like anyone that can reach the strings, really.
Yeah, anyone that can reach the strings.
Cool. All right. I will secure the stuff that we don't necessarily want to be obvious.
Yep.
And yeah, all good. You're piloting it, right?
Yeah, I'll drive.
Okay, cool. Jump in the back.
Yep.
Check my seatbelt.
Yep, clunk, click every trip.
Absolutely.
And you head off, and the submarine slides under the waves.
I'll put some music on. It's my own greatest hits. It's mostly the difficult third album, but I like it. It was experimental.
I never really listen to your stuff, if I'm honest with you. I tend to be more into... do you listen to any Gun Revival stuff? I love it. It's mostly drums.
No, it doesn't really work. I don't have the right voice to work with that, but no,
yeah,
I've never
I wasn't.
listened to it.
I wasn't talking about for you singing it. That's just the music I like.
Just being polite.
I was just talking about music generally.
Oh.
It's more music than just yours.
Yeah.
No, there isn't.
What? He doesn't. That doesn't seem to compute.
Okay, it's just something I like. It's fine.
But yeah.
But yeah, you slip underneath the waves. Now, this is a lake, but this is a Naboo lake, so it is massive and it is deep. You don't go very far before you stop getting any real meaningful light coming down from the surface. And there are pressure sensors on the submarine itself, which are not necessarily reassuring to the non-Carcharodon among you. It is, however, strangely beautiful down here. It is alive, is one of the key things. Everywhere you look, there is a profusion of corals and aquatic plants and shoals of fish and weird alien jellyfish things floating around, and just flora and fauna in a variety of colours and shapes and sizes. And size here is one of the key things, because there are occasions when a very big shadow comes across the submarine before moving away again. And as you're because the front of the submarine is effectively a half dome, a fully transparent half dome that the pilot, Rob, you sit in. So you can see up and down as well as left and right. It's a full 180 degrees of vision. And you can again see some of these huge silhouettes moving underneath you as well. There are fissures here, there are natural bubbling vents down at the bottom where there's waving plant life and clearly squirming fauna around. There are big coral structures as you travel into this lake, which start breaking up your view, and some of these are the ruins of old buildings, and some of these are natural accretion, and some of these are wrecks of what are clearly separatist craft and Naboo starfighters that must have plunged down here during the separatist wars and the blockades 30 years ago. You see one of the separatist hover tanks that has crashed down here and then been taken over by coral and polyps and anemones and has become a thriving habitat for a vast amount of life. And scattered around the lake as well, as you're heading deeper and deeper in, you can also see the stab lights of other submarines as you all begin to converge on the ruins of a large city in the heart of the base of this lake. And what I'm going to want from you, Rob, given that you're in the pilot, I would like a piloting planetary test, please. I'm going to flip a dark side point, and it's going to be 1 red, 1 purple. And that puts you at 4 light side points, by the way, in the pool.
Can I flip a light side point to upgrade my green to a yellow, just to offset that?
Yeah, sure.
Because I think we want to try and come in as smooth as we can.
Yep.
So that will give me yellow, red, purple.
I don't think I thrive in an underwater environment.
Same.
Yeah, luckily this submarine, normally these things don't handle very well, but it looks like there's been some modifications to make this thing glide under the water. It's been tricked out as a stealth craft, effectively.
Ooh. What's that?
As a failure, an advantage, and a despair.
Oh no.
Rob, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Have you considered rolling dice that aren't terrible?
Yes, but
But you've got to run now, and you're going to stay on brand.
It's not up to me. It's up to the computer.
D1 hates you.
Yeah.
Okay. As you're travelling under here, you are noticed, I think, is the key point. And not just by the wildlife, although there is one immense fish that is taking a great interest in you. But there are other vessels here that are making their way to the site of the auction. One of them is a very clearly off-world combat sub. You know, this is not Imperial tech, it is not Naboo tech. It looks a bit like a starfighter that happens to also be submergible. It is kicking up an amount of drift behind it, but there is a whole period where you can't really see it because it has searchlights on you that are blinding, and then they blink off, and as you kind of get your vision back, it's gone and it's made its way there. There is also what is very clearly an Imperial combat sub down here, and though it doesn't get into attack position for you, between that, and this is what your despair comes to, between that and the large fish that takes an interest in you, and between having to evade those and basically wait your time, you are going to be the last arriving at the auction.
Okay.
And your presence has been noticed by others. What would you like your advantage to be?
We might be late, but we're fashionably late.
I mean, yeah, that's... can we have got, like, a read on who the other people are? Basically, because we've had to take a circumspect route, we're now aware of all the other factions that have turned up?
Kind of, because the only ones that are displaying any kind of insignia are the Imperial ones.
Yeah, but, like, maybe I know, like, the mark of that, like, who typically uses that kind of weird starfighter sub.
Make me an underworld test. Difficulty's flat 2 purple.
Streetwise?
Yeah, I'll allow streetwise.
Cool. I have that.
Just a failure. You don't know.
No idea.
This is your real first time underwater.
Hmm.
So, like, from your experience, you don't know. You know, the starfighters you've encountered from the shifty people you've dealt with in the past have all been...
pure starfighters.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Lou, you've got warfare though, right?
Yes.
Do you want to make me a warfare check? Again, 2 purple.
2 purple warfare.
Again, just a threat. Yeah, you're not sure. You're just not sure. They are unusual ones, and as far as your advantage goes, Rob, for whether or not you... I think you know that there are 3 other parties that are coming here, but of those 3, only the Imperial war sub has noticeable insignia.
Yeah.
The other 2, much like yourselves, are not bearing any noticeable affiliation.
Fair enough. But we were told probably Black Sun.
Yeah. And you make it to Otoh Dompo. Now, Otoh Dompo, it is a city, this place. It is a huge Gungan city. However, 90% maybe of the environmental seals. Gungan cities have big energy domes that basically trap oxygen and air and allow for things like electricity to be used safely and that sort of stuff. And for surface dwellers to be there. And Gungans are amphibian, but they need air as much as they need water. You know, so that's why they also have these air domes. And there's some stuff that you can only do in air. A lot of delicate engineering only works when you have air to protect the components. This city, a good 90%, if not more, of those environmental domes and seals are missing. And the water has surged in and reclaimed it. And again, this place is overgrown with coral and anemones and barnacles and all that sort of deep aquatic life that you get in places like this has taken over chunks of it. The small section of the city that still has environmental shields, you can still see as you're coming in that some of those are flickering in a fashion that does not strike confidence for you. From doing a bit of a sweep, which, you know, you've arrived fashionably late so you can do a quick sweep, it looks like there's a couple of potential landing places for submarines to go, and you don't know exactly where all the subs are, but you have coordinates for where you've been told to dock.
Just a quick question. How obvious would, the power centres that are keeping these seals up be?
From outside, not particularly.
Okay.
From inside, if you want to do a bit of digging around when you're in there, you can probably find them, because a lot of them will have local controls and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
So if you want to do some pre-monkey wrenching,
yeah,
that is viable. That is a viable option. And though you have a despair, which basically meant you're a bit late, you're not so late that you can't do any of that sort of stuff. It just means that you're the last to arrive and have been noticed as the last to arrive. So,
One thing I will point out to the others, ultimately, the important thing is that this list doesn't leave with the wrong people, right?
Yes.
Yep.
If that means shutting down the seals, that would still do that.
Probably.
I mean, certainly would almost certainly kill 2 of us, but it could be done.
Yeah. Or potentially, if we can do it remotely, we could get off in a ship.
Yeah. I'm not suggesting that's the ideal scenario. I'm suggesting that it's
A scenario.
yes.
Yeah. No, that could work. Because, fundamentally, either we get the list, we destroy the list, or we make sure the list doesn't leave.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we're in a situation whereby there are ships from there are vehicles from other different factions.
Yes.
We don't want to put this in a situation where they can just send people across.
Yeah.
And recoup it anyway. But it's I think worth considering and worth bearing in mind.
Yeah.
Right, I will keep an eye out as we're moving around then. See if I can spot where these power centers are.
And we could always sabotage the other ships.
Yeah.
Yeah, in theory. Yeah.
Yeah, rig the hyperdrive or something to explode when it's activated, if we know who's going to win.
I mean, ultimately, I don't know if these ships are just submarines that are. I know that some of these are set up.
Yeah.
They're set up in similar ways to spacefaring vessels.
Yeah.
I don't know if they are spacefaring vessels.
I think that one is. No, point to the one. But yeah, the others probably aren't. But
you don't know where they've docked, effectively.
Yeah.
So you can refer back to it, but you can't really point to it as you're coming in.
That's...
Because though they have clearly docked somewhere in the section that's currently livable, in the same way that the place where you've been told to dock is secluded and not obvious.
Okay, so yeah, we're all separated.
Yeah, it's not one big dock, because some of these factions might not want to play nice.
Yeah.
So everybody has been separated where they're landing, mostly to stop people just planting depth charges on their ships. Without difficulty anyway, I'm not saying you can't monkey wrench through the vessels, you've just got to find them.
Yeah.
Okay, lead on.
Take us in and dock in the city.
So the dock you have been assigned to is dark, but it is airtight. Effectively, you kind of go down through a tunnel, then up into an air-sealed room, like a moon pool kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where your submarine connects and docks. This place is dingily lit. There are lights here, but they are flickering and kind of yellowy and clearly coming towards the end of life. And there isn't one of the big energy shields kind of keeping the roof on. It is a natural cave structure, effectively, that then connects. You are the only vessel that's in here. It's big enough for maybe 2 or 3. And you can see that there is another very, very old submarine that's been abandoned here, that's in pieces, effectively. It's clearly broken down at the point where it's not economical to repair. And since they were not evacuating, but since they were leaving this place anyway, they've just left it to continue rotting. And again, it's rusted, solid, and there is a type of yellowish green fungus, algae type plant that is slowly colonising it and growing over it. There is water dripping from the ceiling here and lots of strange echoes. And there is a doorway, like an airlock doorway, that leads out towards the city itself, which is currently closed but has some power. There's a couple of blinking LEDs to it. The airlock door itself is partially transparent in places. So where the seal is, it's metal, and around the edge it's metal, but then it's kind of a transparent greeny blue glass. And you can see that on the other side of this double door airlock is a transparent plastic or glass tunnel leading out into the city with a steel or metal walkway on, and again has circular seals every couple of sections, which even looking through the glass you can see that there is little bits of water dripping into it from here. It is clearly not in very good repair.
I will be keeping an eye out for power conduits as we're moving.
Yeah, there are a few. When you're in this tunnel, there's a few that are running underneath the floor, effectively, because the floor is elevated about a third of the way off from because it's circular.
It's flat at the bottom, so it cuts there's a cord that cuts it.
And underneath there is kind of various cables that run power to the airlock doors. And I think as you take your first steps kind of out of the submarine, through the airlock and down this tunnel towards where the auction is going to be held, into this very Bioshock-inspired subterranean ruin, that's where I'm going to end it for today. Thank you very much again to my players for being here. I really do appreciate it. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. Thank you, as always, to my listeners, and we will find out what happens at the auction when you join us next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape, because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/ForceMajeurePod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/ForceMajeurePod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.camp. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.